To complement its support for small and medium enterprises, the Bank of Industry signed a memorandum of understanding with 10 SME-friendly commercial banks in Lagos that include Access Bank, Diamond Bank, EcoBank, Fidelity Bank, and First Bank. Others are FCMB, Standard Chartered, Skybank, Stanbic IBTC, and UBA. In his speech, the Bank of Industry's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Rashid Olaoluwa, said the synergy between BOI and the 10 SME-friendly banks is to ensure that SMEs are not starved of working capital, which is to be provided by the 10 commercial banks at a very reasonable interest rate.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the synergy that has evolved between BOI and the SME-friendly banks, which is unprecedented between a development finance institution and commercial banks, will undoubtedly foster greater access to finance for SMEs, financial inclusion for Nigerians, and also engender wealth creation and accelerated job creation for Nigerians. It's also our expectation that the SMEs that will benefit from this partnership will be good corporate citizens and will meet their financial obligations to the partnering banks. I want to emphasize the fact that when SMEs take loans, we expect them to repay. This is not any national cake being shared here. This will stand them in good stead for consideration for larger loan amounts, with the hope that they will in the near future metamorphose into large enterprises. So you start as a small enterprise, you get a loan, you repay, you get bigger loans, you become a medium enterprise, you repay, you get bigger loans, you become a large enterprise. So you have an opportunity to go on a track, a clearly defined track from small to large enterprise.
The MD, however, explained the modus operandi of the synergy.
The activities in which the BOI and SME-friendly banks will collaborate include the following: provision of long-term loans to qualified SMEs by BOI based on our risk acceptance criteria. That's for BOI. Provision of working capital facilities to the SMEs by the SME-friendly banks, also based on their own individual risk acceptance criteria. So the idea is that we, Bank of Industry, will provide long-term loans for plant and machinery, and the commercial banks under this scheme will provide the working capital facilities. Now, the sectors to be financed shall include agro-processing, solid minerals and metals, light manufacturing, logistics, etc. These are the critical sectors already identified under the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan, launched by Mr. President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, on February 11, 2014. Loans to beneficiaries shall be in accordance with the following terms. For BOI, the tenure will be for 3 to 5 years. Moratorium period will range from 6 months to 12 months on a case-by-case basis, and interest rate will be between 9 and 10%. Working capital facilities by the SME-friendly banks will be consistent with the following terms: tenure, 6 to 12 months, moratorium as may be applicable, interest rate will be MPR plus 6% per annum. Now, most times when we ask our SME customers to approach commercial banks for working capital facility, they are very reluctant because of the high interest rates. And therefore, we've taken it upon ourselves to negotiate on behalf of the SMEs for a framework, a pricing framework. And this is what we have been able to come up with. We wanted something lower than this, but the banks wanted something higher than this. So we've had to reach some kind of compromise to arrive at MPR plus 6% per annum.
In his closing remarks, Mr. Rashid Olaoluwa commended the participating banks for partnering with BOI in its effort to develop the key sector of the Nigerian economy.
I must at this point commend and appreciate the enthusiasm exhibited by my colleagues the chief executives of the SME-friendly banks in forging this relationship. This goes to show that Nigerian banks all have a developmental orientation, which is what our economy requires at this point in time. I thank you for your kind attention.
Some representatives of the SME-friendly commercial banks, while appreciating the efforts of BOI, also gave their word of support.
This scheme the Bank of Industry is introducing is something that will, I think, further de-risk our short-term exposures to the SMEs. And for us in UBA, we think it's a very huge opportunity, not just for us as a bank, but for the entire economy, and for the SMEs particularly. So I am quite impressed and excited about this opportunity. I think it's going to open up a new vista for us to more effectively participate in this sector of the market.
This is a very laudable project. Like has been stated, tenor of funding and then the pricing are two critical success factors for that sector. For any sector, if you're manufacturing, you need the funding, for the real sector. You need the funding that will give you the comfort to do things that will, germinate over a period, not buying and selling. And then the interest rate has to be right. So this is addressing those two elements. And we're committed to working with you to make sure that the benefits derivable are, gotten from the sector.
For us, we see it as a win-win for everybody. Opportunity for long-term funding and also working capital for everyone. So we quite excited about this opportunity and we look forward to driving further.
Whatever it takes to ensure that we see the SME sector truly contributing and also driving the economy, we'll be more than happy to partner with such initiatives. And I'm sure that's why we're here today. We're more than happy to work with the BOI to further this initiative. We think it's a very novel and laudable one, and I commend the MD for this initiative. We will be more than happy to support you.
We are strategically committed to the growth of this country. So seeing an opportunity like this is one that sits right smack in the middle of our strategy. So we're very grateful for the privilege to be able to participate. And whatever it is that requires attention of the banks and commercial banks, Stanbic IBTC will put on record the fact that we are solidly with you all through.
We're happy to help the mid-sized companies grow bigger, to help them grow faster, and also to internationalize them. So at Standard Chartered Bank, we're happy to partner with BOI, and we would be available at all times to support the scheme and to ensure that it's a success. Thank you.
I can say that even any other bank today that is not audacious enough to make the move that you are moving certainly will have cause to do what? To be behind the hill at the end of the exercise. We're highly privileged and honored by virtue of this invitation, and we can't do less than to give our maximum support to make it a remarkable one.
This is great for us because we've been in support of the SME sector for the past 5 years, and it's good to see my colleagues in other banks joining us in this sector, and more importantly, the BOI. We've done a lot of transactions with BOI in the past, and even in the SME sector, but this brings a lot of structure and flow to the entire business. So from Diamond Bank, we are very, very happy to be part of this.
This initiative by the Bank of Industries, as the MD said, it's an unprecedented one, and we're very happy to be part of this. So we're very, very hard behind you, supporting this scheme, and we'll be very happy to work and continue to work with you. Thank you.
I must say that this is the kind of partnership that our country needs at this point in time. Partnership that is targeted at developing the real sector of the Nigerian economy. We all know what is happening in the international crude oil market. So we need to begin to think, we need to begin to look at our economy as a non-oil economy. So we believe that we're on the right track to ensure that Nigeria can transform from being a net exporter of several commodities to a major exporter of a lot of things. We've actually started very well on a number of areas. 10 years ago, we used to be a major importer of cement. Today, Nigeria is a net exporter of cement. I was reading this morning about Nigeria's cement going to Cameroon. So, and this is just in the region. We want to actually export a lot of things internationally, and that's what this MOU today is about. Thank you so much.
Some members of the media also sought for clarification on the synergy.
I would like to know the time frame for the MOU. Is it 5 years, 10 years? Then come back and look at what has been achieved.
We hope that this can be an enduring partnership, but it's for 3 years in the first instance. But we hope that it can actually run forever. We believe that the objective is very noble. The whole idea is that, we as a development bank, we haven't got the capacity in terms of branch network that the commercial banks have. Okay. And secondly, in terms of the nature of working capital facility, there are facilities that require, almost day-to-day monitoring, which commercial banks are more attuned to actually handling. So we believe that inherently it's a long-term partnership. But in the first instance, it is being envisaged to run for 3 years, and then we'll also review it as time goes on.
What I would like to know is the check mechanism, checks and balances, in terms of how you hope to track the banks so that you ensure that they stick to the MOU, they stick to the mandate.
What are the checks and balances? For me, I think the only issue that will require any kind of checks is the pricing of the facility. And that one I can assure you that the SMEs, provide sufficient checks, because if we say Bank X is going to provide the working capital component of the facility, and we've agreed under this MOU that the pricing will be MPR plus 6. If a bank is charging MPR plus 6.5, I can assure you that the SMEs will scream. So there's an inbuilt, sort of checks on the balance on the banks.
Nothing was said about the amount earmarked for this project, and if it will differ from bank to bank, or is it going to be a flat rate for everybody? I would also like to know how we, on the other side, that operate some level of SME businesses, can tap into this opportunity. Thank you.
This is not a facility we are granting here. It's just a framework for the partnership between the Bank of Industry and the SME-friendly banks. So if a customer comes to borrow for a project, and we're looking at, say, 200 million for a 5-year facility for plant and machinery, and maybe they just require 50 million naira for working capital facility. So we will ask this is what's going to happen. We will ask the SME to choose from amongst the SME-friendly banks which one of the banks he wants to deal with. And then if he says Bank X, we will now handhold him and hand him over to Bank X. And it can also be the other way around, whereby any of the banks has a customer that they believe requires long-term facility, and they can also make reference to us, and we will. So it's a two-way partnership that we hope we run for as long as possible.
The Executive Director, Small and Medium Enterprises, Mr. Wahid Olagunju, rounded up the event with a vote of thanks.
On behalf of the board and management of the Bank of Industry, we're delighted that this ceremony took place today. Rest assured, members of the press and the SME space in Nigeria, that this initiative will bring about the most fundamental development that's ever taken place in all efforts at deepening our credit delivery processes, especially in terms of ensuring that SMEs have access to credit in this country. Like you've all heard, this initiative is coming second after the signing of the BDSP MOU with the BDSPs, and all the banks have also attested to it that all these initiatives will go very long ways in ensuring that we de-risk the SME sector. Once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Thank you.
With this new partnership, working capital will no longer be an obstacle to SME promoters in the country, and the year 2015 will surely have them reaping from the low-hanging fruit of this laudable partnership.